I guess that's it. Would you mind giving us a quick ID before you go?
Yeah, sure. Hold on a second.
Hold on one sec. I'm gonna shut off.
Just gotta. Here you go.
Welcome to the hallway. I'm Rob Sprans.
I'm Franco Del Valle.
And I'm Laura Levine.
The tagline of our show is that it's a portal to peek into the most interesting minds and the most interesting people. And I can't think of anyone who is more fits that bill than Reggie Watts. Reggie, thank you for joining us, a.k.a. Glarf. Do you want me to call you Glarf for the rest of the episode? I can if you want.
Well, the world according to Glarf is the long term, but no, you can call me Reggie.
All right, we'll keep it at that then. Well, first of all, I want to congratulate you on your Emmys appearance before anything else, because you brought a lot of life into that show, and I'm sure you're hearing it a bunch, and I saw a bunch of it on Twitter too, but I didn't actually know you were going to be part of that. We already had you booked. I was like, oh, wow, there's Reggie. Like, did that feel surreal for you? I mean, I know you've had quite a long journey as somebody, and we'll get into that. Somebody born in Europe, and you come over and start working on music first. Like, how did that feel for you to be there?
I mean, I don't know. So it's a weird sitch. It's like you're just kind of suddenly in this space with all these recognizable faces and things like that, but also there are a lot of friends there, that we started around the same time, and, seeing those people like John Oliver and, and Jason Sudeikis have known for a long time. So like, it's kind of like some friends looking at each other going like, how did we get here? There was a lot of that. It was cool. I mean, it's always like a very, for me, I'm kind of an outsider kind of cat, that's my perspective on things. So I was just like, well, I get to be like off to the side observing this whole thing, which is pretty cool.
How much notice do you get before you have to do something like that?
I mean, it was relatively quick. I think the offer came in like the early part of the week before it happened.
Oh, okay.
So it was pretty quick, but I don't mind that. I like to improvise, so the least prepared I am, the better for me.
Yeah, and let's talk about that improvisation a little bit. My first experience of one of your live performances was actually through a VR headset where you did a partnership with Oculus, right? So I don't know what to expect, but like I've known of you from Comedy Bang Bang and everything else, but I never actually saw one of your performances. So I strapped on this virtual reality headset, and there, perspective was off. So I'm looking at a 50-foot Reggie, and I'm just completely blown away by the spontaneity of everything you do, and the fact that I have all of these instruments and all of these recording equipment in front of me, and with your mouth, you're making the most interesting music compared to anything I've ever made here with all of this, like. How do you get to that point where you start to just improvise over, because everybody, I know you started on piano and stuff like that, but, everybody has their little path of how they start to work on music. And then they have this moment where they start going, wow, this is actually cool. This is kind of my niche. Like, how did you decide that just kind of winging it was your niche?
I mean, I guess it started back in high school for me. We had drama. I mean, high school has always had drama, but the drama department, they had I guess it's a competition, element to drama where we would have, competitive dramatics is what it was called. And so we would compete against other schools in categories. We'd travel around the state, like a sports team, but we were a drama team. Okay. So, back then I was like, well, can I just do whatever I want to do? And, eventually it'll become something, so they were cool with that. My drama teacher, Mrs. Thiel, she was really super cool and let me do that back then. So I've been winging it on a prayer for, a long time since I can remember.
Yeah. So do you find like because clearly like at this point you're a master of it, but do you find like how do you're like, I'm getting better at winging it? Like it's just kind of, it's strange to say, but I mean, I don't know what kind of pedal board you're using there. I know you have something from Line 6 and, and that kind of stuff to loop some things, but, multiple performances I watch, like you're just kind of making it up on the fly. And I'm just curious, like if you ever had any malfunctions that happen with the equipment where you got to wing it even further, or like how that goes.
I love it when shit goes wrong. I think it's always fun to like figure it out, just like figure out some kind of a solution. I try to plan as much as I can, as in like what gear I'm going to be using, and, try to simplify what I use so that there's minimal amounts of problems that can occur. But if they do occur, then that's totally fine. Because at the end of the day, as long as there's a working microphone, that's really all I ultimately need. So I feel like I'm ready for the worst.
Yeah, and even in the the comedy part of it, it's weird how they blend together so well. And I'm sure you get this all the time, but you had the opportunity to do a TED Talk, and you could have went the normal TED Talk way, but instead, you still have some tunes in there which are all really cool, but you came out, you pontificated with no real topic behind it for a good 10 minutes. And it was riveting, and I don't know why. I still don't know why. but I like loved every minute of it. So I mean, what makes you make that decision? Like, do you say I'm just going to go out there again and just start? Did you have at least a little bit of a plan, or what do you kind of wanted to imitate a TED Talk without any foundation behind it? Like, what was the mindset going into it?
Yeah, well, I mean, I had done a bunch of TED-like things. I did some TEDx's before that, and I also did PopTech, I think 3 years in a row, which is kind of a similar format to TED, but it happens in one TED happens in one location too, but it's just once a year. I don't even know if PopTech still happens, but it used to be kind of like a, what TED is, an innovation kind of technology, edge of the arts type of a gathering. So I'd done a bunch of those, and I love doing those because I love pretending like I'm addressing an intergalactic council. It's really all I really care about. I just want to address a very large gathering of, different species of aliens and convince them about something that doesn't matter. So for me, it's like I'd done that for a while, and I love that, like, copying the cadence and the tonality of those types of speeches, because I think it's funny. It's all out of the love for it, because I love science and I love these things that I make fun of, but really it's just about imitating that cadence, that way of speaking, the way that they kind of run circles around information and drop in things that sound important. But it's really about that tonality. So for me, it's great. It was a great opportunity because not a lot of people knew what I did in that situation at TED, and I also fought to get there. It wasn't like I was chosen. I mean, I was chosen, but there was they had a contest the year before called TED Full Spectrum or something like that, and I had been asking to do TED because I'd done a couple TEDx's and PopTech, and I thought, hey, if I've done those, maybe I might be able to. Anyways, for whatever reason, I wasn't getting an invite that route, so I decided to compete in the Full Spectrum contest, and then they chose me there. And so that's how I got to go to TED.
That's awesome. So you fought to get there to speak gibberish.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, because I just wanted to finally like just do a TED Talk. I mean, my thing is like I'll go anywhere. Like I'll appear anywhere. I just want to appear in random weird locations.
Yeah, that's kind of what it was like seeing you pop up at the Emmys. Like it was kind of cool,
Yeah.
So I wanna talk about your app because it is really, really a very cool, unique app, and it's kind of like it just like everything else, there is no category I can put it in. But so I first of all strongly recommend that everybody goes and gets this app. It's called, of course, WhatsApp. How you do you think you got a lot of downloads? You get complaints of people in the comments saying this is not WhatsApp?
No, I mean, it's clearly, spelled differently. It's my name, Watts. So it's, there's not really too much you can complain about. I mean, you could download and go, what is this? I don't like it. And then you can just get rid of it. I mean, it's free. So I don't know how much complaining people are going to do.
Right, I know. Well, so the coolest things about this, first of all, is like instead of just, having a social media platform that's out there to communicate, Reggie leaves his own videos. He puts up songs and music from time to time. It's very random, which I love about it. So anytime you go, you check out the app, you got something new there. But Droneversations is something that I definitely want to touch on, where Reggie interviews people and he has a drone as the camera, but it's an incredibly loud drone. So he'll interview Fred Armisen, say, and he'll have the drone there as a camera, and he'll have a full conversation and hang and talk while this drone buzzes around with that sound in it. And I'm just so curious as to, do you spring this on them when they get there? Do they know what they're getting into when they start to hear the thing buzzing around them?
No, I kind of give them a heads up. I just say, hey, Droneversations is, it's a interview conversation shot by drones, and drones are, as we all know, they're very loud. And, but that's, we just do the best we can with the audio. And it's just a blast because, it's just so stupid. It was something that I thought about like a long time ago, especially when drones were first coming in on the scene. I was like, those things are so annoyingly loud. It'd be so hilarious to just use them as primary cameras, but then hear this constant and just so stupid. So yeah, it worked out. Feist was my first one, and she was just awesome. She was so perfect for it.
Yeah, it's a very cool concept. You even have a store there as well. So, I highly recommend everybody picks up the app, because it's one of those things where you have a quick couple of minutes, you just pop it on, see what's on there. I do like the music player because it has like hold on, I think it's in this shot too. Yeah, the music player has this little you can kind of pause it and move back and forth from it. The stuff that you put up, do you just kind of randomly work on something and throw it up there, or are these things that you've had that you're sharing?
A lot of it is just stuff in the moment. God, what's going on with my nostril there? Sorry, guys. Okay, we're okay now. We're okay.
We can get the drone up.
You can edit that out.
No, that's going in. It's promo.
We're just gonna zoom right in.
Oh, that's so sweet. Just immediately, as soon as it starts, just like, hey, guy. I just have that constant camera tracking. No, what was the question again? Sorry.
No, the music player, the tracks that you throw up there. What do you spontaneous stuff you work on, or do you have them already?
Yeah, usually it's just just something I decide to an idea that I have, and I just throw it up there. Or sometimes I'll randomly live stream. And we're actually working on a component now to the live stream where people can actually comment now, because there's really you can't really comment within the app yet. Right. So I'm just kind of modularly adding functionality to the app all the time. So there will be like a comments ability to kind of like create a profile and then comment during a live feed, which will be really fun.
Yeah.
But, everything's pretty random.
Yeah, that's the point. Like, that's why I dig it so much, because you never know what you're going to get out of it. You just open it up for a few minutes and just check out what's there. So nice job with that. Again, it's called WhatsApp. Everybody needs to check that out. It's the black icon, not the green one.
Yep.
Make sure you
Very important. Very important.
Yeah. So, Franco and I were talking beforehand. Franco was a huge fan of Comedy Bang Bang. And it was groundbreaking in a way that, we've been doing this podcast for like 11 years now. And from what I remember, I still think it's one of the first podcasts that ever got a television show just from being a podcast, at least from what I remember. And, at the time, I remember your show was on the charts all the time. And then IFC picks it up. did you have a visual element to it before you took it to IFC, or did you have to kind of retroactively add that visual element afterwards?
I don't know. I mean, it's Scott's thing. So, he asked me to do the theme song, before it became a television show. And, so I was totally down to do that. And, then I just heard that it was going to become a show, and I was like, okay, sure, I'll do it. I mean, that was about it. So, I mean, them kind of figuring out what it is visually, that was all Scott and the writers. And so I just kind of showed up later.
I always just assumed that everything was spontaneous with you, but I don't know. You guys just, obviously the show, like the podcast being, improv, and you guys just doing the show, there being a guest, like it just all kind of worked really well together. It's one of my favorite shows. It's actually one of the few podcasts that I listen to, just because.
Oh yeah. I
barely ever have time, but every once in a while you need a good laugh. But what was it like to just have a guest, you improvise then, and then it's not always going to be a guest that's necessarily good at improv. Was there ever any awkward moments or anything like that, or is it always just kind of whatever we film, and then we'll put it together later?
I mean, it's pretty structured, throughout the day. The shooting schedule for those days were pretty tight. Everything was segmented out and really tight. They left leeway for the couch discussions, just because they wanted that to be very, very improvised. So they would sometimes let people run, depending on who it was and how long they could go for. But it would be anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes sometimes of just pure improvisation. And yeah, so the schedule was pretty rigid, but there were definitely moments of looseness. And then in sketches, obviously I could kind of improvise a little bit on, I could change lines, I could do things a little bit differently on camera and stuff like that. But it was a pretty written show. I mean, Scott is a writer, so it's a pretty writerly show. They need to hit certain things, it's hard to go completely off the rails, when we were shooting that, but a lot of freedom for sure.
Yeah. So then you wind up on, and this has to be such a surprise to you when it comes along, but you are now the band leader on the Late Late Show with James Corden, and you do a fantastic job just adding to not only the overall personality and vibe of the show, but I was so impressed that they chose you over just a traditional band leader, because you're so much more unique and so much more interesting. Do you know them beforehand? Do you know James, or who comes to you with that opportunity?
I didn't know James. It's funny because I had just resigned from Comedy Bang Bang. I retired. I'll say that. I retired from Comedy Bang Bang. It was all amicable and all that stuff. And, so I think it was just after filming the last 10 episodes I was supposed to film, or that I did film. And then I got this call, while I was still in town, because I was living in New York at the time. I got this call. It was just so surreal. It was just my manager saying hey, this guy, James Corden, an actor, he just got the gig took over Ferguson's spot, and they're doing the show called The Late Late Show. And he's wondering if you might be interested in being the band leader. And I was like, this is fucking stupid. What? I was just doing Comedy Bang Bang as a fake talk show, and I was a fake one man band leader.
Right.
And, and then suddenly I get this call to be on an actual talk show on network TV, and as an actual band leader with an actual band. It was very, very surreal. It was really weird timing. But yeah, and after a lot of deliberation, I went for it. But it was just out of the blue, really. It was just, most of the shit that happens to me is really out of the blue. It just kind of, someone's like, hey, Conan wants you to tour? And I'm like, okay, sure.
Yeah, what would you say? No? Yeah, sure. Why not?
Yeah, no, of course. Yeah, it's yeah, sure. but yeah, like the Late Late Show was totally out of the blue. And like, you know, when I met with James, he was really cool. He was really chill. He ate an edible with me, which I thought was good.
Nice.
Good sign, you know, smart move on his behalf. Yeah, it was cool. I mean, it was weird.
Yeah,
and every day I'm like up there going like, you know, looking at the band, and the band's just like, what are we doing? Like, what's happening?
How did he handle his edible?
I think he was good. He had the edible. He didn't question it. He just took it. It was really awesome. It was like, it wasn't that much. It was like 5 milligrams. So, but you know, I like gave him this thing, and he was just like, cool. And he just like ate it immediately. And I was like, okay, because it was a twofold thing. And one, I was like, oh, that's cool that he did it. But also, it's like, as a political move, it was very smart.
Right.
So I thought in either case, I was like, that's very clever. Yeah, it was pretty good.
So I do want to get back to Conan at one point, but when you get, you know, first of all, is there any like audition process? Were they looking at other people, or was just you just guys had to just sit down and talk and just make sure you vibed well and that was it?
For which show?
For James Corden.
Oh, I think it was that. I think, you know, he had the showrunner, Ben Winston, was with him at first. We met in the lobby of the hotel that he was staying in, like in the restaurant. And so, you know, Ben was there, and yeah, he hung for a bit, probably to get a little read on me as well. And then he kind of took off to like let us gel. Oh. And it was great. I mean, he was, you know, he kind of knew the situation. I told him about Comedy Bang Bang, and, you know, because the main reason why I quit Comedy Bang Bang had nothing to do with like, you know, me being mad at anybody or anything like that. It was just like, it was so much like the way that the schedules were packed in. It was just so intense, like getting up at 7:30 in the morning and like just being at the whims of a constantly shifting schedule because of stars. There was so star heavy. So, you know, schedules had to be constantly adjusted last second. So I just felt like I was waiting around a lot, and I was starting to get really grumpy. And so I told James, I was like, I like to just, the car should be running, you know, and the driver's side door is open, and just like run into the car and just start driving it, you know, and then I stop the car and I just get out of it, and then I just leave the car behind, you know, like that. That's my best use of time, is if I can just get parachuted, like just drop in to the situation, attack, and get the fuck out. And so he totally understood that. And he was like, listen, you know, it's going to be at most like 2 hours, you know, of your day, and, you know, blah, 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 blah. And he said all this shit, and he was totally, completely right. That's exactly how much time I spend. You know, it's great. So he promised a bunch of stuff, and I just thought about it for a while, and I finally talked to everybody. And then I asked Sarah Silverman, the great Sarah Silverman. She's always the tiebreaker for me. And she was like, well, you know, just ask for what you want. And if they give it to you, consider doing it. Yeah. And that was kind of it.
Pretty obvious.
So I was like, sure, I want this, I want this, I want this. And everything that I asked for, they were like, sure.
Ah, that's fantastic. Then you go back and like, shit, I should ask for more.
Yeah.
It's like,
no.
Yeah, just never-ending jelly beans and edibles. I don't know, like something. Like, I want that in my contract.
Yeah. I want an everlasting edible.
Just like an edible drip.
Right.
Yeah, totally. I would love it. IV. That'd be great.
That'd be great. Are you nervous for the first show?
For the very first Late Late Show?
Yeah.
I can't remember. I think I might have been like a little excited, you know, to do it. I don't know if outright nervousness would happen, because playing bumps in and out of commercial breaks is super, super simple. Yeah. It's like one of the easiest gigs in the world. I mean, you're literally playing for 5 seconds.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, we'll see. It'll be right back after the break. Pampers is an all new design with leak proof, you know, whatever. And, you know, and then after some paper towels come on, it's like, hey, and we're back. We were just talking, you know, and that's it. That's the whole gig, is
you minimize it, but you have your moments on that show too, for sure.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. I mean, you know, sometimes I'll be in a bit, or, you know, and there's always the banter, you know, and I chime in or whatever. But it's really like a super, super sweet super easy, awesome gig. And the easier it is, the better it is for, me. Cause then I feel like, oh, I'm having a good time and having a great time and it's sincere and I'm not having to like laugh artificially at jokes I've heard before and stuff like that. I get to be someone who's watching the show, but also has some interactivity.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool.
Very, very cool. So I want to go back to Conan for a minute, because as everybody knows, he just finally ended the show, which was kind of a heartbreak. And at the Emmys, like he was
off the rails.
I loved it.
Yeah, he stole the show.
He kind of did. He kind of did. I'm trying to find this. There's a video of him. Is it this one maybe? I think. Let's see. Hold on. Oh yeah. Let's see. No. Hold on a second. This is worth it, guys.
Oh, no worries.
It's insane. Yeah. Let's see. Hold on a second. Yeah, it is the opposite.
That was when just the guy from the television academy, right? He was telling everybody.
Yes.
It was great.
Yes. But then he kind of goes on, and then he just salutes. He stood there for, I swear to God, about 4 minutes like this. Just stood there. Insane. It was amazing.
He definitely just does what he like. I don't know. It was really weird because my girlfriend Kara, she was covering the Emmys for work, right? And I'm watching it, and every single time I'm like, what the fuck is Conan doing? Is he just like, she's like, yeah, he's just getting up with like every single person that's winning an award and just like going up there,
right?
And just acting a fool. It was exciting. It made me really want to watch the Emmys.
He was drunk, definitely. And he was just like, after his, event, whatever the thing that he might have won for, I think that's when he started. Like when he didn't get the thing, that's when he kind of, poured it on a little bit extra. And he was just hilarious because when he gets, he gets drunk, he gets like that fake, like, it's like, he's like fake mean, like it's all fake. Like he's outraged, super like loud, rambunctious, all that stuff. And he kept coming up to me during the thing going like, I just want to let you know I like you. But then my publicist Rob was next to me. It's like you, I don't know you. I don't. This is like giving him shit. And I was just like, what is happening right now? He's just, he's a punk rocker kind of.
Yeah. And so you wind up going on tour with him. So you just get a phone call randomly again. Like, do you want to go on tour?
Yeah. It's exactly the same shit. It's just like, I get a call from my manager, Olivia at the time, and she was like, Reggie, so Conan would like you to open for them on that tour. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, I'm already packing. Yeah.
That was kind of it. I was like, really? Okay, sure, I guess. I mean, they know what I do, right? Yeah, it was great. And it was my friend Todd Levin, who's one of the writers. I guess he was writing there up until the end, and maybe he'll be writing with Conan's next thing. Who knows? But yeah, he was there because I think he worked, if I'm not mistaken, he may have worked for Fallon back in the day when it was just the Jimmy Fallon show. And then I think he was at Conan, working with Conan, and he suggested me as the opener and played him a bunch of videos on YouTube and Vimeo. And I think Conan was like, sure, that guy. Yeah. Like it was like that easy for him and it was that easy for me. So, yeah, it just felt very surreal.
And I get it too, because I recommend everyone go down the Reggie Watts rabbit hole of YouTube, because it is really something that I just couldn't stop watching clip after clip after clip. And I think a lot of it has to do with how much it's all improvised. Like I want to hear the next song. I want to hear what you do, how what you do with it, how you work it, whether you're making up words or whatever it may be.
In my head, I can't comprehend somebody that like is as spontaneous. So in my head, I'm like, okay, so Reggie's definitely like got like some sort of like backbone to it that maybe he thought through before, and then he just goes in, makes music at the same time, which I don't understand how you can be so fucking funny while also creating music on the spot.
Yep.
But if you were to tell me like, no, I just come up with it whenever, like that, it makes me like it that much more. It's so much more incredible that way. I don't know. Maybe I don't want to.
Yeah. No, I mean the answer is like no. I don't plan anything. You know,
there's not even a
go for it.
Not even like a spine to the live show. Like not even like, okay, let me just do this. That you just walk out and it just happens.
Yeah, basically. I mean, it's similar to like, I don't know, take a modern person now, like Lori Levine, like if you take like, see her perspective, how she generates what she generates in a conversation. That's what I do with music. So I just go in and it's like anything, you just start, you know, and like hopefully something happens. And, you know, and just in my case, obviously I've been doing music a really long time, and I've been fucking around and riffing for a long time. So I always have, you know, I guess like kind of an ambient template, you know, that's kind of there for me, a little ambient net, you know, if you will. But I just really don't think about it. I just if I start with a beat, I hear what the beat, I feel what the beat is, and then the beat comes out, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, maybe this kind of a bass line, you know, and it's just kind of, you know, quickly mixing stuff together and seeing what happens, and then just kind of getting an idea of what it wants to be a little bit more as I build it. It starts to like get clearer and clearer, kind of, and a lot of it is just listening, you know, listening to the audience if it's a live show, listening to the audience and see if they're digging what I'm doing, you know, what they're laughing at, you know, what they're responding to. And I'm adjusting that way. And I also know shit that I can do that will most likely be received well. You know, there are like bits and types of things I can do.
Yeah. Are you high for the live show? I mean, I was high as fuck watching them, but like, are you? Do you get a buzz before you do them?
Yes. I mean, it depends. I go back and forth. I mean, sometimes I'll do shows totally sober. But yeah, like if I'm on tour, generally I'll have an edible just before I go on. So I'll go just as I'm going on, or I'll do it on stage. So I'm like sober in the very beginning, and then I'll get higher as the night progresses, which is kind of fun for me because I like that transition into the uncertainty. And sometimes I like being, you know, you can be definitely too high, but sometimes I like being so high that it's a challenge to keep the show together. That's like a really fun, it's just kind of, it's like putting ankle weights, you know, when you're like doing stairs or something like that, you know, or wearing like a heavy backpack when you're doing stairs. It's kind of like a good workout for me. And I really love that. And actually the first time I did prescribed ketamine lozenges, I did a live stream on Instagram, and it's still up, and people, I don't think anybody could tell that I was on ketamine, but it was like a really heavy, it was 400 milligrams of ketamine. So it was very, very intense dose, but I was still like troubleshooting. Oh, this needs batteries. Let me go find where the batteries are, and let me put the batteries back in the thing and make sure the audio is functioning, all that shit. And just rocked on K. But I do like that. I like that challenge of like, can I still hold the center? Can I still find the eye of the hurricane no matter what the situation is? And that, I really get off on that. I think that's it's fun to like survive it.
Yeah, it's awesome. And like I said, I was really baked when I was watching some of this stuff. And actually I should bring this up too. Reggie has an awesome Netflix special as well, called Spatial, which that was the one I was really, really high for. It's more of the same. It's just the comedy transitions to the music, which is also funny, which transitions back. So I recommend that everybody checking this out. Firstly, pick up again WhatsApp. Get it on any of your devices.
It's on Android.
Android, Apple. I think it's even a Mac app. I think this screenshot is the Mac app. It says View in Mac App Store. So look at you.
Oh, wow. All right. Cool.
Very impressive. Very impressive. You can also, in addition to the app, you can follow Reggie. He's at Reggie Watts, both on Instagram and on Twitter. So if you want to see a little ketamine roll, you definitely can.
I'm going to do that right after. I want to see that now.
Yeah.
Yeah. You should.
And of course, you can catch him on the Late Late Show with James Corden at a very bizarre 12:37 a.m. Have they ever explained to you why?
That is weird. No? Not a clue. Not a clue.
So
very weird.
Bizarre. So bizarre. But anyway, I guess that kind of fits in a way. So Reggie, I can't. Sure. Reggie, thank you so very much for joining us. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
My pleasure, man.
All right. Thank you for watching The Hole. I am Rob Sprance.
I'm Franco Del Valle.
I'm Laura Levine.
Later, motherfuckers.